Welcome back to Green Bee Explorer. I'm back in Lynn's garden and it is blooming like crazy, and I want to show you all the blooms throughout her garden. So let's go take a tour.
Okay, this is my rainbow garden, and really interesting thing happened this year. My yellow coneflowers turned colors, and it's not colors that were growing there, you know, like as seedlings. These are plants that have been there, and they just, for whatever reason, changed colors. I'm hearing that from other people too, that some of their plants, their coneflowers, have changed colors. You can see the ones in the back there. I've got pink and yellow and red in that grouping. These here were supposed to be orange, and you can see the orange plants, and then the pink ones just came right up. And if you follow some of the stems down, they're coming out of the same grouping. So it's almost like the cultivars are reverting back to the natives.
That is fascinating.
And here's the purple end and the blue end. And in my circle garden, those there are the balloon flowers. And in my circle garden, oh, here's why they're called balloon flowers, by the way. There's a balloon. Did you get this one?
Oh, there we go.
And in my circle garden, I have spiderwort. My spiderwort is still going strong, and that's a native spiderwort. Those are my spiderworts that are hybrids and cultivars. They're done blooming and they're disappearing. They do that they don't die, but they just die back. And I have to wait till next year for more plants, and then I have a hole in the garden where nothing's growing. So I love, for that reason, I love the native spiderworts much better. This is the area here that I call Mom's Garden. And actually the reason I call it Mom's Garden is because my mother loves sunflowers. And I will always have sunflowers. There's some over by the fence there. This year I'm growing the short variety. So they're getting ready to flower pretty soon. This big red plant here is Crocosmia lucifer. Huge, it's really gotten big. And it's really pretty. And then these are the coneflowers around. You can tell I love coneflowers.
I love them too.
And this is my simplicity garden. I wanted to keep it simple without having a whole bunch of stuff, different stuff in here. So, which is true. I do have lamb's ear and a couple of different plants, but without having, you know, 15, 20 varieties of things. I just tried to keep it a little simpler. And then the lamb's ear and the rose campion is the other part. And then I've got veronica, phlox, tiger lilies. The lilies are popped in everywhere, and some swamp milkweed. Oh, I got a caterpillar. You want to see a monarch caterpillar?
Wow, I actually have never seen one before. Oh my goodness. How beautiful is that? That was lucky.
They only feed on milkweeds.
Wow.
Beetles. Huge beetles. Don't know what they are. I like to photo document my pollinators and caterpillars and everything else. So I'll probably be back out with my... This is my wisdom garden in the shade. I'm redoing all my gardens. As you can probably see, it looks like there's a garden on one side of the rocks and then a walkway on the other side of the rocks, and just like somebody put some rocks in there to define the area. And I really wanted it to be more of a garden, so I'm bringing 6 to 8, maybe 10 inches of topsoil in and making it into a raised bed. So it's going to take me a while. At that time, I'm going to have to dig out everything and raise it up, and maybe even move the hostas. Some of the hostas are not doing well here, so I've got a new garden started, and I'll be moving them there. So that this part here has been done in the wisdom garden. And I've got some, like these are Jacob's ladder, so different plants that are native. I'm trying to put more native plants into my shade gardens now too. This is my creativity garden. So I've taken most of the hostas out of here. There's very few left because this is more in the center, and they didn't do real well. And I'm trying to put in Michigan native plants, and I'm going to see how they do. Now this over here is my fairy garden. Okay, and this is my fairy garden, and I already did this. I brought in quite a bit of topsoil, raised things up. Some of the plants I just split them and kind of put them in little curves. I love curves. We've got one here, I just put it all the way around the fairy marker. Got my little fairy houses and my fairies behind. So this area here is pretty much done. And I took the walkway out that was in there. I'm going for anything that's easier to maintain. This is much easier than what I had, but you can see the difference in what it's going to be, the height, and then what it is currently. So most of these hostas here do very, very well. So I'll probably be leaving them right where they're at and just digging them up and raising them as I put the soil in. This is one of my favorite views of the hostas because they're so big. You can see I took this walkway too, and I've got the walkway ready for bringing some soil in. Been working on the edge here, raise this up a little bit. I try not to cover the trees. You see a lot of this where landscapers will bury a tree, put a foot of mulch around it. That's not a good idea for trees because these are its main roots, and if you bury it, it will start to get secondary roots that could eventually strangle the tree. So, and then you'd lose the tree. It might not happen for a while, but it will happen. This is Pulmonaria. That one's Raspberry Splash. They bloom in the spring, and then the ones over right there by the other maple tree, those are blue ones. They're kind of a blue-purple. I've got some native plants in here. Big leaf aster. These are called doll's eyes, and that's because these look like little doll's eyes. They're not quite there yet. They'll turn white, and they have little black dots in them. Okay, this is my new garden area. I haven't given it a name yet. It's absolutely huge. I started moving my hostas out here last fall. So, and then I decided to put a number of the seedlings in here that I grew of Michigan native plants. So this side here that you see is all variety of seedlings that are coming along. And some of them are actually blooming right now. We'll be coming up on one shortly. So I still have to do some raising and mulching and so forth. I'm working on it. This is a work in progress. I just finished putting all the rock edges in, so I'll be bringing soil in and filling up to the rock edges. But this is wing stem, this plant here, and some of it is in bloom. So that plant actually is, maybe a foot to a foot and a half tall. It can get to 8 feet. So next year it'll probably be a lot bigger. These bushes were here. These are smoke bushes. One's purple, one's yellow. And I'm just leaving them there. Some of the different natives. I think that's the hairy wood mint there. This is the American witch hazel. And I just bought this because I really love seeing people's pictures of the flowers in the spring. You could see areas where I still have to bring soil in. My husband did use his front end loader on a lot of the stuff before I put the rocks in. But now it's all up to me because I'm not having front end loaders moving anything near where all of my plants are.